Greets peeps, I'm back again. This is the third part of the Football Manager 16 tutorial. We've had a look through the various options down the right hand side here, down the left hand side here. We've had a look at the squad window, and we determined last time that we wanted to look for a replacement right back and potentially a replacement left back, a backup right back and a replacement left back to take over from Jose Enrique. He's doing a good enough job. He's got a fairly good rating for us. He's doing a good enough job for us as backup at the moment. But if we could get a young player who would actually grow and the game time would be of value to him should Alberto Moreno become unavailable, that's not a bad idea at all. My general plan in the long term is to have a primary player who I want on the pitch right now. Have an understudy who's 3 or 4, perhaps 5 years younger than him, and then a youth player who's the same amount younger again, who will be looking to give very occasional games and slowly work him up to becoming the deputy. And I'd like to have that for every position, but at present, if we open this up, we can see that running from potential, we've really only got one backup player in the goalkeeping area that's of any use to us. Actually, there's Danny Ward. He's already better than Bogdan. We'll remove that training option from that loan option from him, because he is going to be our deputy in the short term. We'll set him to play all of the under 21 games, but he'll be a perfectly capable backup should Mignolet, not perfectly capable, he'll be a fairly good backup for Mignolet should Mignolet get injured, and Bogdan will look to move along. I'm not certain if we can. I've got a feeling that Bogdan's just been bought at this point. Yeah, okay. So we can't actually sell him because he's just joined us on a free, and we didn't know how bad he was. Sorry, Adam Bogdan, I do feel bad about that. I actually genuinely thought you were a good keeper when we bought you. Where did you come from? From Bolton. I had the idea that you're a good keeper, but you've just been truly awful for us, so forgive me if I'm a bit unfairly biased. So running on that premise of a player who's 5 years younger and then 5 years younger again, we've got Mignolet at 27, who we really should replace, but I don't think we'll have the money to do it at this year. Maybe next season we'll be able to do it. Danny Ward is going to be his apprentice. He'll be the deputy keeper, and Camille Grabara will be the long-term replacement. We can see that he's actually looks as though he should end up better if we train him correctly than Mignolet in the long term. The rest of these chaps are really not worth even keeping around, so we'll have a look at that shortly. Defensively, we haven't got any long-term options. Jordan Williams, I guess, could potentially come in, but I think he's a midfielder, preferably. He prefers to be a midfielder. Yeah, so he likes to be a defensive midfielder, or a midfielder rather than... Oh, sorry, he actually likes being a left back, right back, more than anything. That's interesting. Because with 1.5 stars, he's a reasonably good backup to where is our man? To Nathaniel Klein. I'm going to push him up to the under 21s, and we're going to try and get him some game time if we can. Yeah, I like that. That's a good idea. Okay, so it's good to know that we've actually got some sort of a backup there. Joe Gomez also can play on the right hand side if he needs to. He doesn't. He's not particularly good at it. I should mention this. This indicates how good a player is at a given role. The more full this circle is, the better they are at the role. We can see that he's a far better ball playing defender than he is a central defender or a, well, he's slightly less good as a central defender or a limited defender, and he's markedly worse at being a fullback or a limited fullback, but or a wingback. Actually, he's quite versatile in that role. Where I'm not certain he'd become a good centre back. Did he not have such a high potential? I would be very tempted to make him become to waste his potential in trying to adapt him into a wingback, into a right back. But we're going to try and make him the best defender in the world. So we've actually got an option on the right. We don't have a young option on the left at all. None of those chaps are any good. And Brad Smith's passable. Yeah, he's passable. He's actually he'd yeah. His potential will only ever get as good as Jose Enrique, according to our scouts, and so we'll keep him on the books for £4,000 a year. We'll keep him on the books and try and up his value a little bit. That's a good value, 1.2 million for a 21-year-old player who's not played hardly any games is quite good. So we'll keep him around. We won't bother moving him along just yet. We won't loan him either though, because he'll be more useful to us here. I think he'll get better game time here. Beyond that, we're looking very sparse indeed. Pedro and Rossiter in the middle, perhaps. Shehi Ojo up the front. I think he plays on the left-hand side in an attacking role. Yeah, so he's something of an understudy for Coutinho. That's a pretty good. He's a pretty good option. Jordan Ibe prefers playing on the right, if I recall. Yeah, so he's a good right winger. We won't ordinarily play a winger, but that's an easy enough formational change to make as we play through. And Jerome Sinclair has all the potential in the world. He could become our best striker by some margin. So we'll keep an eye. So we don't need to look out for anyone up front. I'm going to sort this and just make sure we've got no players that we want to keep looking to go out on loan. Thiago Alori. That's an interesting point. I thought he was loaned out ordinarily. He's a perfectly fine deputy for our centre back. Not that we need it. Other loanees, Conor Randall, that's fine. Jack Dunn, that's fine. Bobby Adekanye. They're young enough that we don't want to send them out on loan yet. We'll wait till they've had some more experience in our youth teams, along with all of these lot, and all of the rest of these players. Ordinarily, if I was feeling ruthless and I wasn't trying to show you a good way to do things, I'd get rid of all of these players with the maximum potential of 1.5 stars, and as well as all of these ones. But it makes sense to have them around. They're good cover for your under 18s team, and when we go through and we configure the under 18s teams, then we'll look to we may look to shift them on then. So we've got a very good idea of our first team after a little impromptu revision that I've done here with which I didn't intend to do. We've moved Danny Ward up. We're going to move Adam Bogdan, Kolo Toure, and I think it was only those two for the time being, wasn't it? There are two guys that we're going to... Oh, we can't sell Adam Bogdan. We're going to try to loan him out though by right clicking and saying transfer loan status available for loan, and we're going to offer him to clubs as well. Because we're not going to we can't sell him, but we don't want him at the club, we're going to say we want to loan this player out with not a monthly fee of £5 million, a future fee of £5 million, a monthly fee of zero. They'll pay zero wages, and they can have him until the end of the season. That's fine. Please, someone take him. We're stuck paying his wages regardless. If he were to stay here, we'd be paying them. So we might as well try and get him some game time somewhere else. And we want to get him as a key player, because that will mean the team that we loan him to are incentivized to play him all of the time. And we'll see if we can find someone that'll be interested to pick him up for £5 million in the future. I'm clicking this one to lock it in, so that we only want teams that are interested in buying him for £5 million at the end of the season, after they've had him for a year free. Offer to clubs is going to ask our backroom staff to spam his name around the place and look for someone to buy him. Kolo Toure, we're going to transfer. We're going to set his status as transfer listed, and we're going to offer him to clubs. Because we're more interested in getting rid of his wages, we'll offer him for far less than what he's worth. Honestly, to move a wage that size, I'd be prepared to sell him for free, to be quite honest. But let's see if we can get £250,000 for him, and that's all we want. We just want him off the books. They were the only two players that we were looking to sell at present. Jose Enrique's very close to being on the chopping block, but we'll keep him around. We'll keep him around for the moment while we look for another left back option. Yes, because we've got no left backs there in our under 21s, and we've got no left backs here. No, that's an awful under 18s team. All of those players I'd be tempted to remove, but we're going to configure this team shortly once we've done some work on tactics. I would jump into tactics now, but I think this video's probably been going on for a little while, so this will be a nice short video. We'll come back and we'll move on to tactics now that we've investigated our squads. Move the unavailable. Yeah, that's a more reasonable looking sort of a team. We can make something from that. There's enough positional variations there that we should be able to make a proper team from that. But these under 18s, man, I've no idea how we can make a team from that lot. But we'll investigate that next video when we're looking at the tactics.